Hey, it's Jay Stephen of Real Crusades History. This is Dr. Andrew Buck talking about Raynald of Châtillon's famous submission before Emperor Manuel I Comnenus.
Between 1153 and 1158, Raynald of Châtillon is asked by Manuel Comnenus to attack the Armenians of Cilicia, who under Thoros had started to attack imperial possessions. And Raynald does this, and then Manuel refuses to pay. Now, whether or not this is because Manuel was tight, or historians seem to suggest that the reason Manuel got angry was that Raynald had used this opportunity to reinstall the Knights Templar in the Amarnus Mountains. So he'd used that opportunity to make Latin gains rather than imperial gains. So you can see why Manuel may have thought, well, why I'm not paying for you to gain from this. And in response, Raynald, who was known for his rather violent temper, attacked Cyprus. He raided Cyprus quite violently, and in response, Manuel comes to Antioch. And this is one of the things that I've really been able to, I think, undermine modern historiography here, is that in 1158, Raynald comes to the city of Mamistra, which is in Cilicia, and he performs this ritualistic act of penance. So he's bareheaded, he's in a wool shirt, no shoes. He hands his sword, his upside-down sword, so it's in the shape of a cross, to Manuel. This is this real scene of surrender, that he is really putting himself in Manuel's kind of... He's really relying on Manuel. Submitting to him, yes, sorry. And there's been an assumption that the reason this happened is that Baldwin engineered it. And this relies on a reading of an Armenian source by someone called Gregory the Priest, in which an earlier agreement had been made between Manuel and Baldwin for a marriage alliance, and more in this it had been discussed that Manuel would come to Syria. However, it does not mention any agreement relating to Antioch. And actually, if you look at this penance, and actually the really complex notion of medieval ritual, that actually this notion of supplication actually works in Antioch's favour. That while it's perhaps embarrassing in the immediate moment, it really gives Manuel very little choice of what to do next. He cannot be seen to react negatively to such a obvious demonstration of penance and supplication. And this is, we have precedents for this. So in the West, when Henry II did something very similar to King Louis VII of France, it was actually noted that had Louis reacted badly, then all of Europe would have thought badly of him. So it's very easy to think of the medieval rulers as proud people who would not have been able to cope with a small amount of embarrassment, or even a large one. But actually, by doing this, it's a very, very clever piece of diplomacy that leaves Manuel completely unable to act with any form of military aggression against a state who has literally just invaded imperial lands. And to think that Manuel was not expected to kind of carry out a like-for-like attack on Antioch, having faced the invasion of imperial territory, it's, I think, absurd. And I don't think that's not how it works in the past, that Alexios attacks the principality. In 1143, in fact, Manuel sends an invasion force against the Principality of Antioch after he was angered by a slight Raymond had made against him the earlier year. So we do this notion that there wouldn't have been violence, that Byzantium was only looking for recognition here. That's not. I don't think that works.
Thanks for listening, guys. This is J. Stephen Roberts again. I just want to let you know that Real Crusades History does in fact have a Patreon account, and I'm going to link that in the About box of this video. And if you like what we do and you're interested in supporting us, please do consider becoming a patron to Real Crusades History through Patreon. Again, you will find that link in the information box below this video. Also, I would like to remind everyone that Dr. Helena Schroeder is now a part of Real Crusades History, and she is writing weekly blog posts on realcrusadeshistory.com. Really interesting stuff. You can get some really interesting Crusades history there from her every single week at realcrusadeshistory.com, and she is also joined there by our colleague Rand Brown, who is also contributing articles there about the history of the Crusades. So do please check out the Real Crusades History blog at realcrusadeshistory.com. Thanks.